Hello, and thank you so very much for joining me tonight. I go by Lune and Nate. I'm sorry for the weird lighting and this very visible shadow happening right here. I hope you can handle it. What I'm creating for you today is the Aquarius season inspired video. So essentially, we're going to discuss a little bit of Aquarius season 2020. Most importantly for me, though, because I am not an astrologer and I never want to claim to be one. I'm certainly interested in this work, and I certainly continue to pick up pieces and understand things, but I never want to present myself as an astrologer at all. But I do want to share, what I'm feeling, and kind of go from there. So essentially, Aquarius season is from January 21st to February 20th. And there might be some discrepancies there. It might be different depending on where you are located in the world. But more or less, for all of us, we can say that the collective is going to be experiencing Aquarius season because the sun will be in the house of Aquarius. In the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is... as well, happy birthday, Aquarians. I wish you so much love and joy and just whatever little gadgets or whatever it is that you're looking to get your hands on or build or tinker with or whatever kind of gets you going. I hope that that's some stuff you get to really indulge in for your birthday month, Happy solar return. So essentially, Aquarius is the water bearer. It's represented in tarot by the star, and it carries a lot of newness, a lot of technological developments, coding, nerdy stuff, if I can put it that way. A different kind of nerd, though, not quite like Virgo nerd, more out there, like space cadet. We can kind of say that with Aquarian energy in general. I'm not trying to call Aquarians space cadets. I just mean that energy it's an air sign, although it is the water bearer. People sometimes are confused thinking that it's a water sign. It's not. It's an air sign. And air signs in general are a bit more in the clouds, a bit more ungrounded, we could say, or those are the things at least the collective will experience during Aquarius season. This is a really beautiful time to release things like fear. I know, I feel like we could release fear all the time, and that's something most of us can work on all the time or are served to work on most of the time. But essentially, fear, resisting things like a stubbornness of sorts, feeling like we need to do things a certain way, drama, attachment. So again, if the Aquarian energy is a bit spacey and a bit ungrounded, we could say, it's beautiful because we're up in these kind of clouds, getting these ideas, looking at things from different perspectives, really seeing not just ourselves, but also the group or the collective, whether that's your social circles, your work teams, or just in general, the people around you, and then the extended collective people around you. Aquarius season is helpful for looking to really see this kind of stuff. Aquarians are not dramatic, if anything, they can be a little cold, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to use the terminology of Aquarians. What I mean to say here is Aquarius energy can be a little cold, a little unemotional, like emotions, like no thanks, like that kind of thing. I don't mean to say that they are not emotional as people. I just mean we get a little less dramatic, we get a little more reserved. We get a little more like, I don't care because I'm all the way up in the freaking clouds, so you do whatever you want over here. I got better things to do, like later, like very cut and dry that way. And I think that that's something that perhaps can be certainly used to serve in whatever you have going on in your life. There's always something that comes up, right, that it's just better to kind of be a little cut and dry about. Of course, the whole reason for creating these videos with a theme of the Zodiac season is to kind of just let us know or consider how we can best go with the flow and not fight the current of the present energies that we're all swimming in. So we could say, using that example, collectively, it's maybe not the best time to be dramatic. Collectively, it's maybe not the best time to act in ways that support how we want people to see us, or how we want to be represented. It's definitely not a hermit, but it is more withdrawn in the fact that, again, it's easily detached, easily able to detach, move on, float around, come down a little thick, come up pretty light, but never quite touching down. So again, I don't want to say it's like a retrograde at all, but a lot of the times Aquarius season can feel a little bit like a retrograde, because as we're up here and as we're looking down and as we're seeing the dynamic of our relationships play out, or different things in our social circles, or new ideas are kind of coming to us and we're looking down and seeing like what will fit where, how can I make this work? It kind of gives us that perspective, or that ability to refine, to collect more information, to really make sure that whatever we're going for, whatever we're doing next, is something that we've gained a very rich perspective on and see the interworkings of things. I'm about to say this very cautiously, but this is a really interesting time where we may feel called, or we might consider at least and chew on more what is best for the collective, or what is best for the group, and act from there. And the reason I say that cautiously is because sometimes we think what's best for the group is appeasing people, or sometimes we think what's best for the group is minimizing ourselves so that we're not making waves. And that's definitely not what I want to impress upon anyone or share from that perspective at all. Sometimes what's best for the group, or what's best for the collective, is the hardest choice. And ultimately, what's best for the group is always you being your authentic self, you navigating from a place of not fear or no drama, or a loving detachment that says like, look, like, I'm not going to take this personally. Like, comment all you want, say whatever you want, talk behind my back, do your thing. I'm not going to take this personally. Aquarian is like a very non-petty energy. It's like, yeah, eye roll, I'm over it, like, peace, deuces, whatever your thing is, later gator, like, I'm out. Aquarian energy is also, like I've kind of touched on, but collecting of information. It wants to make sure I want the experience. Let me do it again. Let me refine it. Let me read a book again on it. Let me take another class. So these are things you might be called to do. And I just want you to know, like, that's okay. If you feel inspired to retrace your steps, or reread a book, or take another class, or kind of do something again that feels like you're going back in some way, or you might feel a little like judgment of yourself, like, oh, well, why am I called to study this if like I already know this stuff? It's just doing it again, getting a different teacher, reading a different author, reading the same book again, but you've grown in a year and now you're going to pick up different things. It's okay. And if you're called to it, I don't see a reason to fight the current. If anything, the only fighting of the current for Aquarius season that I could see as like probably a major thing that will come up is the fact that Aquarius energy does make us feel a bit ungrounded. Now, we're all different. I'm not a very airy sign, I guess you could say, but I do have a bit of Libra, like a Libra heavy chart in a sense. But in general, like, I'm fire, water, and earth. Like, those are like my main things. So I struggle a little with like Aquarius season, because I'm like, I feel very ungrounded and I don't like that feeling. So if you lean that way as well, the only fighting of the current then would be that need to become grounded. If like we're all up here, that need to become grounded, to, be here, get the view, collect the information, get those new ideas, go like really out there. Aquarian energy also has this like kind of psychedelic concept to me. So some of you may be kind of called to, how do I say this? I don't say self-medicate, but like have some kind of ceremonial experience using psychedelics. I'm not trying to tell you to do it, but you might just be called to it, because again, Aquarian energy is so out of the box, so beyond borders, so limitless. Like, I don't want to be limited in any way, which is kind of funny. Like, I have to reread, I guess, the symbolism about Aquarius and the water bearer in general, because it's like the vessel, right, which holds the water, The water is emotional, yet Aquarian energy doesn't really feel so emotional. So what is that? Like, what is that then? It's kind of perhaps the unseen, we could say, holding a vessel for the unseen and being able to tap into it quite easily. And when I say the unseen, I mean like your imagination, your ahas, your, oh my gosh, like I just had this idea. AR is probably going to come up a lot. Augmented reality, finding yourself just drawn to sci-fi kind of stuff could potentially be a part of it, which like I love sci-fi year round, but that might be a part of it as well. And just finding yourself like exploring newness too, like truly newness. I'm so sorry for that word, but like that's a lot about it for like Aquarian energy in general. Here I will put the dates for the new moon and full moon. The new moon would be in Aquarius, so it would be a nice time to plant seeds for newness, for communication, for creative energies, for completely out of the box ideas, as well as intentions to support your ability to detach lovingly. Detachment is such a key, essential piece of our ultimate well-being and our ultimate support of the collective, because without attachment, we're not leaning too far one way or another, or like holding on to things which create imbalance. I have so much love for the people in my life, but I have complete detachment with them, like I'm not holding anyone to anything. The same goes for everything. I'd like to think, I'm a mom and I'm a dog mama too. So like I'm clearly attached to those, but I try to, when I'm just speaking to Bamba, like honor him and his journey and try to support him in his best life experience. Same with my son, although, it sounds kind of weird because like I'm saying one dog and one child, but my intention with my son is to just support his experiences. And I thank him so much for choosing me as his mom, but I know he'll leave the coop one day, or I know that he will, be called to do things that like are completely the opposite and perhaps of like what I would like for him, if I could design, if I even would try to do something like that. So it's like this respect of understanding that we're all very unique, yet we all play a role in this collective energy, whether that's kind of a little more micro or macro, it doesn't really matter. You can look at it either way, but really honoring that we're all so unique and finding that in people and finding this kind of humanitarian aspect of we are all one, but we are all incredibly unique. We have very different skill sets, let's say, very different interests, very different social causes that we feel called to support. And that's such an integral piece of all of it as a system rising, a systematic approach of rising. I'd like to kind of put it that way, I guess. So again, the new moon planting seeds for that development, for humanitarian causes, for the collective as well, like planting seeds for the collective, intending to hold your own field times three, or something like that, to really expand and create a bigger vortex or a bigger magnet or charge in general to support the advancement of the collective and what is best for the collective in general. The full moon will be in Leo, which is of course the opposite sign of Aquarian energy. And this would be a good time for considering what you need to be brave about in your life, especially when it comes to perhaps social justice or perhaps newness or perhaps the courage to become detached, the courage to let go and trust are examples. Of course, you can use this however you choose to use it, but those are certainly things that I find really work well with the Leo Aquarian energy concepts. I'm not exactly sure which day we'll end up doing our live Reiki stream together, but it will definitely be one of those dates that I listed, and I will share it on Patreon as soon as possible. I do have some crystals picked out for the session that we're going to get into after our tarot portion. One of them is, I'll just show them to you here just to make sure, because I'm a little weird still with my setup. But here is a tiger's eye. I found this, I just felt very called to this, not your typical Aquarian energy stone necessarily, but I love it for its grounded nature as well as its kind of third eye enhancement. So it's grounding, yet has that third eye developing energy. And I don't know, I just thought that that would be good to have to work with. So we'll see how this comes up in our session specifically. The next one I have is called Chrysoberyl or Cat's Eye. It's like a grayish kind of feldspar. And this one's very good for creative thinking, for out-of-the-box thinking, for kind of meditating in general. It's peaceful and it's detached. Like picture a cat. Cat doesn't give a hoot what you're up to for the most part, you know, compared to a dog. Of course, this is one of my favorite stones to support Aquarian energy in general. It is a moss agate. And I love tree agate. They're very similar, honestly. But like this is a tree agate. And what I like about this and the tree in general for Aquarius is that Aquarian energy, like as we're there, I was saying before, like I need to be grounded. So sometimes Aquarian energy is difficult for me, or the Aquarius season rather is difficult for me. But it's like, do we really want to force it? Do we really want to force like, oh, I got to get grounded. It's like, how about we just know that it's going to be hard to get grounded potentially for some of us. So let's work with it in a gentle way. So I like this one as a gentle grounder. It has a nice nexus kind of energy to me in general. I think of the tree rising towards the sun, but the roots are still there, but it's not slamming you down into the ground either. I don't know. I think it just like this for a gentle grounder. This is my Azulite, the one that looks like a little hermit hut, if you've seen this in other videos. And of course, the deep, deep blue of the stone, you can't really see, it looks brown, but like inside of it, it's blue like a blueberry. And that is wonderful for the combination of the third eye and the throat and like understanding from these like bigger out there kind of perspectives and understanding it and expressing it and thinking about it. So I really like that for this, as well as like we might need some time in. We might need some time to kind of like float around in our room, So I thought that the hermity energy of this one would be a good fit for today's session. Here I have Howlite, one of my favorites, very good for relaxation, for sleep, for dream work in general. I also brought out my ruby and zoisite because this one is one for me that helps very much with arguments. So when someone let me retrace and rephrase that. I brought this out for the intention of working with not taking things so personally. I love this stone for that, for like communication. If there's an argument, if there's a misunderstanding, this is a great one to go with to kind of like rebalance and also, again, not take things so personally, come at it with a more aware approach. This one is blue Aragonite, if I'm not mistaken on how to pronounce it. And I like this one because I think it really supports the awareness of other people. And Aquarian energy is very aware of other people, or it would be a good time for us to be able to tap into that. Other people's strengths, other people's challenges, other people's life story, other people just as other people, as other facets of this collective that we're all experiencing in each other. All right. And then lastly, it's called for this Rhodonite, which is this pink and black stone. And the reason I'm bringing this in is because I feel a need to work in the heart space. I can't explain it. It's more of an intuitive thing for me in general. Please leave a comment and let me know. But I feel like there needs to be some kind of like heart healing or heart strengthening, or perhaps as we find that courage to detach or find that deep love within ourselves and move from there, there needs to be a healing and this kind of very supportive stone. This isn't, it's gentle, but it's not this like, oh, like gentle healer. It's like, let me, like, we got this. We got this, like strong heart kind of energy. It's like a friend, you know? All right, so let me just reframe the camera, and I will pull some cards so we'll have more of an intuitive approach for the general Aquarian energy season. All right. The reason we pull the cards, the reason I'm pulling the cards anyway, is because Aquarius season 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2020 are all going to be different. They're all going to be different themes. And we can't just go off the basic stuff or the collective stuff, the obvious stuff, I guess we should say, every single time. Just setting an intention to pull a bit of a story for the month. Collectively, what are we going to be facing? What are we going to be looking at? What can we overcome? How do we use this energy to the best, in the best way? And it's funny what comes up sometimes. Like sometimes I'm surprised. Like this past Capricorn season, usually it's like work. And I felt that. I felt the pressure, but it was hard to do. It wasn't as fueled as I would have liked. There was fuel, but it was also a lot of other stuff going on too. So things to distract in different ways. So we'll see what's going to come up for us today. So I'm just going to cut the deck. And again, this is going to be face up for you. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're just going to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a bigger table. 1, 2, 3. Oops, I'm so sorry. 1. Okay, so that's what we've got for now, and I'll pull some more once we get these stories going. Trying to figure out the best way to do this, so forgive me if it's a little odd. Trying to find my groove, you know? Okay, so where are we starting? We're starting with the 7 of Cups in reverse, and the 7 of Cups is like a lot of options, but not all those cups have something good in them, you know? There's a woman, there's a snake, there's jewels, there's a sandcastle, there's a wreath, there's a dragon, there's this kind of like ghosty looking thing too going on. So this is saying, reversed, perhaps we're aware that there's too many options. It's almost like we can't decide. So we have too many things and there's too much potential for so many things to go wrong or right, and they all look the same or they all kind of feel the same, or it's just not there yet. So we're kind of at a standstill of decision making, we could say. What do we want to do? What's the best choice here? So if you're not following me, this is going to be the story for that card. This is going to be the story for that card, and so on. What else is going on? 2 of Cups reversed. So this is saying perhaps there was a falling out. Perhaps there's just an imbalance in your own energy and you're not really enjoying you're not really embodying a feeling of wholeness. But to me, it feels like a falling out or a separation. And okay, I don't like how I always have to come from myself, but that's 2 of Cups reversed. That's what it feels like to me. Some kind of separation, some kind of falling out, some kind of losing of family, you know, of confidence, of something that you shared this kind of courage with another person about. All right. Then we have the Page of Swords, also in reverse. So this story here is about not being able to get started, like knowing it's time to start a new adventure, knowing it's time to start a new project, knowing it's time to think a different way, knowing it's time to gain a newer perspective, but not really being able to do so. So we've got some blockages going on. These are all upside down. All right, and then the last story over here is going to be a theme of not sleeping. Who is sleep deprived? Raise your hand. This might be emotional purges that seem to only come out at night. This might be nightmares. This might be recurring nightmares themes is what I'm trying to say. This might be recurring thoughts or thought loops. So again, how we're playing this with these different stories, we're going to get some clarity on all of them. So first, back to our story of there's too many options. There's a risk in every option. Some could be amazing. Some could be a dream come true, but others will let us down. Others will be hard lessons. Others will open new karmic doors that will need to be closed one day, and it's like too scary to move. So what is this? What is this about? We're asking for clarity here. Temperance in reverse. So this tells me there's an imbalance. This is not restoration or harmonizing. There is a lack of harmony. And this is a cups card, but the temperance does pour one cup into another, as if you have a drink with your friend and you're trying to make them even so we can cheers together. This is saying that there's an imbalance there. So I'm just tuning in a little bit. Forgive me here for the pause, but the foot is in water, like temperance is standing in water, and there's obviously this very angelic energy, right? Especially with this card. You see the wings, kind of archangel energy, or your guide. So the path is not quite, there's an imbalance. We'll keep asking clarity there, but there is an imbalance, and that's what's causing this. What we want to find out next, what is the imbalance? Okay, so the Two of Cups in reverse story. Who have we fallen out with? What has caused this potentially? We're looking for clarity on this separation. The Chariot. This separation had to happen because you're moving forward. You are riding into battle, like however you want to look at that. I'm not trying to make it a fight, but you're riding into battle. You're ready to start. You're calling on your emotions, on your intellect. You're calling on your logic. You're calling on your intuition, your empathetic nature. You're pulling all of this together. So perhaps the relationship or the falling out, whatever it was, it might be people, but it might be things, or situations. It doesn't have to be so much as like my case. But in general, it's because you're going forward. There's forward momentum. And there's no room for imbalance. There's no room to not have both of these. So perhaps the falling out had to happen because it was creating this like limitation. When we're in a relationship, any relationship, friendship, anything at all, we hold keys, we hold dynamics, we do a dance, and sometimes it's very balanced and, each person has their own kind of middle ground energy, we could say, and they both bring a little middle ground energy, and that kind of makes this like whole kind of energy, we could say. And I don't mean to say anyone is half, I just mean in the dynamic. But what it looks like here is that there was a clear issue between the who's putting in the effort and who's soaking it up, or who's doing all the thinking and who's not really carrying the weight. So it almost made you have to either carry all the weight or lean too far one way or another in your own energy, because the Chariot is about the harnessing dual aspects and unifying them to get that forward momentum. All right, so let's move over. What is the new perspective we need? What is going on? Why do we have this reverse Page of Swords? Why are we not ready to get started? What's the perspective? Okay, the Tower. Straight up, the Tower. Okay, so the Tower to me, it can be just about like internal stuff or subtle stuff or unseen stuff that needs to crumble. But you know what? To me, this is very physical. There are pieces around you of what has fallen. There are physical shifts that you need to change. Changes in your schedule, changes in the way you drive to work, changes in your patterns, changes like around you. You're going to have to bob and weave a little. You're going to have to think things through differently. But it seems like with this Page of Swords in reverse, it's like we can't quite yet see what this new perspective should be, because we haven't stabilized yet the pieces of the fallen rubble. We haven't cleaned it up. We haven't cleared it yet. All right. So now on our who's up all night, what is it? I also want to say social media might be pulling you in like crazy. You might be watching all kinds of stuff real late at night in a way that gets addictive, you know, like, oh, just one more. That could be it. So let's get some clarity here. Oh, the Ace of Swords. So this is a brilliant idea. So maybe we're up all night because we feel we're on the verge of something. Or maybe we're up all night or we're having these nightmares or something is going on. But it's because there is a divine thought coming through. There is messages from your guides, messages from spirit, messages from, again, this like greater understanding of what needs to be done. But it's not going to come without first that kind of fall back into like, I can't sleep. Ugh. Again, I've been saying this a lot lately, but do a ritual, you know, ask for the clarity, ask for the consolidation of all these thoughts, all these swords that are keeping you up at night, all these thoughts, these mental images. Ask for this to be consolidated and cleared and presented in a way that is strength and not disempowering. Okay, so back to our too many options, too much risk, something's out of balance. We're asking for clarity here. We have the Knight of Swords. Not a lot of clarity, guys. So the Knight of Swords says like, get moving, get started. Let's go, you know? So it's crazy, right? It's like, I can't decide. Oh, it's too much risk. Oh, I'm not sure. It's out of balance. But what about you is out of balance? What about your thoughts, your will, your patterns, your energy itself, like give and take? What is out of balance in your life? Maybe I'm not getting a lot of clarity here yet because of the, this is a collective reading, but there's a push here to do it, to get it started, to move and act and think on it and chew on it and like tackle it. Journaling is great for this. All right. We're going to get one more clarity card. I just couldn't fit it. Okay, so the falling out has happened because you need all your energy. You are going forward. You need inner harmony. You could not sustain or maintain yourself in your wholeness with this fierceness and courage before, in the relationship, in the situation, in that dynamic. The Hierophant. Interesting. So, for some of you, this could be you're going into something and it's a new tradition. The Hierophant goes to like the old ways, you could say, you know, like the tradition, the system, the systematic. So are we rushing into battle to fight this system and rebuild this system? Or are we rushing into battle to create our, and I'm saying battle, God, that's really not the best word. But are we going in bold and brave? And I want to say unapologetic, but I mean that in the sweetest way, you know, unapologetically moving towards what is established, what is set up, old, we could say traditions, antiquated traditions, perhaps. It's not about fighting it though. Like, it's not about breaking it down so that it's a battle necessarily, or it doesn't have to be a battle. It can be just the creation, you know, like, how do I say that? We'll get a little more clarity there, but we're going towards bringing our wholeness into some kind of new tradition or new establishment or new society kind of thing going on. All right, here our story is the inability to clear our perspective, and that's because we have not yet completely formed the new. We have not repurposed. We have not cleaned up. We have not paid off the debt. We have not, like, whatever it is, it hasn't been done yet, and it's just kind of like laying around in a mess. Page of Wands, reverse. And we can't create that way. We can't create if we haven't addressed the tower, if we haven't cleaned up the mess or set the new things in place, which is funny. These are starting to play in together. Can you see? Can you see? We can't create the new because of the old pieces that are laying around. It's kind of messy. It's not a foundation yet. We can't work with it yet. We got to try, but we can't create now. We can't even think about the new experience necessarily in a clear way. It's not a clear direction yet. And here as well, it's not a clear time to create if that's the case, which is funny because I talked about how Aquarius season, it's not a retrograde, but just in general, like, it can be a time to go over things again, go over it again. Right, and we're up at night. We need to consolidate. We need to ask that these thoughts, these repeats, like, take away what I don't need, take away what doesn't serve me. Let me focus on the one strength, the real virtue of my thought patterns, of my thought process, of my discipline, in a sense, my intellect. Six of Wands. So I can celebrate myself, so I can join in the celebration of creation for humanity, for us all, but for me as well. I'm on the damn horse, you know? It's my time to shine with my people. All right, so let's get that one more card that I couldn't quite fit. Let's try to make it work. All right, let's wrap up these stories here. Oh, hello. Okay, I'm going to let that just fall there. 10 of Cups fell out. Okay, just looking for clarity on the end of these stories for Aquarius season, for the collective. Okay. All right, let's consolidate a little ourselves. So we have too many options and there's too much risk. And there is something out of balance. It almost feels stingy, or like you're afraid to give. You're afraid to put a little more on your friend's plate. That sounds terrible. Or make their glass more than yours, or whatever. It doesn't have to be your friend. It could be anything in your life in general. But it's almost like you're afraid to move energy from one space to another. But to do so is to create balance. If that is the intention and you're doing it with a methodology of supporting balance, then we're fine. But if we feel, oh, I don't want to take from there. Oh, I don't want to, yeah, I have this much saved and I really want to invest in this. And I know that it's good for me, but I don't want to take the money out of my savings because of this or that. I don't know. It's like the first thought that came in my head. But there's a request to like move forward. Move forward. Even if it's not action, think about it. Manifest it. Think on it. Chew on it. Journal about it. All right. And what's our clarity card? The Ace of Wands in reverse. And don't do it yet. This isn't a time to create. This is a time to get your head right about all of it. So if you do feel like there's a big risk in your life and you're open to like all these different potentials and it's like, oh, what if I make the wrong choice? The cards are telling us to, or the guidance here is essentially to find balance, find comfort, move some things around, create, whether that's your time, whether that's your emotional investments, whether that's your finances, move some things around. Think about it. Think about how you could do it, even if you're not like physically doing things yet. And don't do yet in the physical realm. Don't start. Don't bring people on board yet, but do mentally create it. I hope that it isn't contradictive sounding. Everything but the physical, get on it. You know what I mean? Like go into it, attack it with your mind. I'm using very aggressive words today, but I mean, chew on it, dissect it, plan it, manifest it, journal about it, make it real to you, make it real in your mind, go down those paths, collect the information, go out, but it's not a time to create just yet. All right? There's always time, but it's not the right time. So I'm just going to clear these out of the way. All right, so our next story. There has been a separation. There has been a disconnection. There has been a falling out. There has been a cutting of ties. And it happened because you need all of your energy. You need all of your force. You need the balance within you first. It has to be for the next. And I was a little confused here, right? We're going towards, we need that energy for our wisdom, our maybe occultist kind of occult sciences, education. Maybe we're rereading old stuff. Maybe we're going back into like ancient teachings of some kind. Or we could look at it from, this is a tradition. We need it to form either new traditions or adjust old traditions in general. So let's see what our clarity card is. Please let it be some clarity. Okay. 7 of Pentacles reversed. Interesting. So this card is about harvest, reflecting on what you've harvested. In reverse, it feels like maybe it isn't the time to harvest, or maybe there's this kind of just unhappiness with what's been harvested. So maybe if this is a relationship as an example, we want to make sure that we're aware that we need all of our energy. That's why this happened. There's no mistakes. And it's for something that you will use to somehow guide you and others. I'll just put it that way. Whether it's traditional, whether it's esoteric, whether it's stepping in and displaying yourself as a teacher or a wise one or someone with information. And I feel like this 7 of Pentacles reverse is like a little bit of a warning to stop. I feel like these are very tied together. Well, they all are, right? But the guidance here is like, you might start feeling, oh, what did I get out of that? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, I wasted so much time. Oh, I would be so much further ahead in my journey if I didn't waste that time. Like, what did I get out of that? but like, you always get something out of it. You always do, even if you don't know what it is quite yet. Even if you feel like you had to sacrifice some of your winnings or some of your resources in some way, don't dwell on it. Focus on these. Focus on the Chariot. Focus on the Hierophant. And stepping into your teacher role, I want to say, because you need that. And this isn't a time for dwelling, but you know what? It might come up. We might feel it. We should honor it if we feel it. I'm not trying to say that we should disregard, but just know, like, it's okay to feel that way, but that's not true. It's not true. Of course, you always gain from the experiences that we have. Okay, so now we have the Page of Swords in reverse. We've had trouble chewing on something. We've had trouble getting started. We've had trouble creating new thought patterns. We've had trouble with perspective. And the reason is because of something tied to a crumbling, perhaps like a relationship, but it's, it's physical. There are legit changes that need to take place. There are legit new steps, new habits to form, new perspectives, new, like, literally, like, day to day, new dietary things, or that kind of stuff. If you've had a health scare, if you've had your job change, whatever it is, like, we have to work with the pieces that crumble too, or at least, like, make sure that they're tidy and we're not, like, bumping into everything. And this is also, like, we can't create right now. It's not a time to create something new. Very much has popped up a lot here. And the clarity, how funny, is the Three of Pentacles, which is about building. It is about building something in the physical. So look here. Let me do this way. Do you see? Can't think, can't create, gotta deal, and rebuild. Rebuild your sanctuary. This almost has like a basement kind of like tomb kind of look to me usually. This card specifically, not every single Three of Pentacles that I've seen. It reminds me of that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna say it wrong, but the Gaudi in Spain, in Barcelona, the cathedral. When you're in it, walking around, it's just absolutely amazing. So Aquarius, actually, if you've ever been there, but if you ever get a chance to go to Barcelona, it is so worth checking out. The Gaudi, I feel like I'm butchering that name, but the Gaudi Cathedral. It's stunning and bizarre and so weird and so cool. But he is buried in the lower realm of it. Like, you can look down through this glass area and it looks a bit churchy down there with like rows of seats, or the like church benches things, and his tomb, catacomb, I don't know the right word, but he's there, the architect. I don't know why that's coming up, but it's making me feel of like things will carry on. It's not just that things fell apart. Those pieces, energy never dies, Those pieces are repurposed. Those pieces move into different things. Those pieces get carried on by other people or repurposed. So just know that as things fall apart and tend to shatter. She like, that shit don't matter. Sorry. As things fall apart, it's repurposing, it's sharing with other people, it's moving things. So whether it's relationship, it's going to repurpose. Someone else is going to get that treasure, and it's cool, and we should wish them well. It shouldn't be like, oh, that didn't work out for me. I didn't get to get all that. No. Why do we want to drive ourselves crazy, right? This will be enjoyed by other people. You don't have to worry about it. Just try to connect with that. This isn't even asking us to do anything. It's just letting us know that things fall apart and it's okay. Like, it's fine. It still supports the building of other things, and this supports the creation of other pieces and other aspects of like the humanitarian concept coming in to utilize what has fallen apart in some way. Okay. We're up at night. We have too much on our mind. We have racing thoughts. We have nightmares. We have just that kind of stuff going on. And then this Ace of Swords comes in. We need to consolidate. We need to use this from a place of, excuse me, of the divine, of this, like, how do I say it? I'm trying to use the best words, but I almost want to use the word godly. Like, we want to tap into the God within us as we're creating and reject, like, I am a part of God. God is a part of me. I am connected. I'm not calling myself God, but I'm a God. And I can reject, and I can discern, and I can choose my sword. This is a gift, you know, like these aces are always gifts, I feel. And the purpose here is so that we can celebrate ourselves, so we can join the party, so we can join the momentum. I almost want to say join the fight again, but that's really not what I mean. Like, join the celebration, join the display, claim it. It almost feels like there's some stuff hidden, perhaps, that you're chewing on. Like, I don't know how to tell people this is about me. Oh my gosh, like, I've gone through so much. I'm different. Who am I? What's going on? Am I this? Am I that? Do I have to categorize myself? What's going on? Like, claim who you are. Claim it. Claim your mission. Claim your passion. Claim whatever it is that makes you, you, and attach to it. And let yourself be celebrated. And our clarity card here is the Knight of Cups. And don't let yourself be celebrated for some kind of emotional fulfillment. I know that's kind of contradictory again, but it's for you. It's not for how people see you. It's for you to speak it and then come into this place of, now I can find my group. Now I can find my place, create my place, enjoy the journey. Now I can join the party. Now I can be in the fun because I'm in charge of who I am and how I see myself. But this feels like it's not necessarily, it feels like there's a little bit of a burden here in this card, and I'm confused, you know? What's the deal? Knight Cups. This is a gentle knight, you know? He's, as Angela Mary Magic would say, knights are babes. And with this reverse card, though, it makes me feel like it shouldn't be for anyone else but you. It shouldn't, like, yes, you will by virtue of your declaration of self or direct declaration of your new thought patterns that you're taking on, or what you're releasing, what you're claiming yourself as, and holding that mental field, holding the thought. No way you won't align with other people or feel celebrated or feel seen. But it shouldn't be to feel seen. It shouldn't be, oh, and then they'll celebrate me. It's not about that. So it's just a reminder. It's funny too, like all these cards have, you know, forgive me. I am not trying to make this disappointing. That's not what this is. Aquarian energy feels a little standstill to me sometimes. So I hope I'm not just projecting that. I don't think I am. My intention is not to influence the cards here. But it's funny because my next video that I have planned for YouTube is about disappointment and using that to our advantage, not to be let down by, to never feel it again, not let our vibe go. So almost every card that was the conclusion card, or like kind of tying the thing together, has almost this like, yeah, but don't worry, don't count, don't hold all these things like, oh, what did I get? What was my thing? Oh, I'm out of balance. Oh, I lost something. Oh, it was more work. I put all that investment in and now I don't have it. Like, it's kind of like calling us back, right? And this one is the same thing. Yes, do it for you. Don't do it to be seen, but you will be seen anyway. I hope that makes sense. And the jumper that we had before is like one of the best freaking cards in the whole dang deck. The 10 of Cups, this fulfillment, this joy, this like family and like, oh, we got the land. Oh, this is our space. Oh, like the sun is shining. We have everything. We did it, you know, like life goes on, circle of life. It's so fulfilling to see our kids grow up. Oh, it's so fulfilling to watch our kids play. Like, not everyone obviously has kids. I'm not trying to be literal here, but that feeling. Those of you who are parents or aunties or have pets, like, you know how proud you feel. Not proud. You know how fulfilled you feel when you see someone you love having an amazing experience, having an experience that perhaps you didn't have, or that you're just so happy that you can help them to experience. God, my words are not the best right now, but this is like any weirdness that was here that I do apologize for. What am I going to do, right? Any weirdness that was here, the overall theme here is like, we're doing this for everyone. We're doing this for our ultimate fulfillment. It's there, you know, but there are some things to keep in mind as we navigate this Aquarian season. So I hope this resonated with you. I hope it served in some way. I always love to hear, so please do let me know if you're available to. And I'm going to just move my camera around here and set up so that we can do our by proxy healing session to support the themes of today. All right, or of the season. All right, so see you soon. All right, so welcome back. I hope that some of that discussion and that reading supported you in some way, or gives you something to think about at least. And we're going to get our candle going. Just a little tea light. I'm going to put it in this salt holder. I have these little quartz crystals. Pour some into my hand. And just put them in my right hand. So we'll see if you can see little chips, and we're going to charge these together, kind of like we do with the candle itself. You can see there's a bunch here. Hopefully you can see. My camera wants to keep focusing on my new little wall hanging, so bear with me. But hope you can see them. So if you'd like, just place a hand on your heart and connect with your intention. We want to support problem solving. We want to support thinking totally out of the box. We want to support detachment, loving detachment. Completely new thoughts, you know, or maybe even the new thought movement if some of you are called to study new thought. We want to connect with a healthy, how do I say this? A healthy release of the over-emotional, or being moved too much by our emotions. Yes, emotions come in. Yes, they are guides, of course. But what I mean is the over-emotional drama, taking things too seriously, personally, taking things too personally. and any other intention you'd like to set. Of course, on behalf of the highest and greatest good. I'm just going to charge them a little extra. I feel like I left you over there. Kind of. Love, peace, technological advancement, communicative advancement, perspective expansion, the acquiring of more knowledge, the stepping into being a teacher, the claiming of ourselves, the celebration of self and of the collective, and what's best for the collective or what's good for your groups. Getting our thoughts clear, getting our mental field sharp, refined. I don't want to say tunnel vision, that's not what I mean at all, but a precision, a clarity, an understanding. Because after Aquarius season comes Pisces, and then Aries, and we do it all again. So here's a time to take stock. Here's a time to move beyond the facades of limitation or having to only walk the same path over and over again, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take our candle and just drop these, sprinkle these little quartz pieces on top. I lost one, that's okay. It will bless my room. Just want to make sure all of them are off. There we go. We ask for movement, we ask for flow, we ask for total understanding. Great. I'll be using these incense matches as our offering as well, because I'm not too sure of the sensitivity of that freaking fire alarm, and I do not want it to go off in a relaxing video. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna keep it small. These are patchouli. Light our lovely little candle. Just put this here. It just sounds so nice. I thought the salt would be a good choice for this session, Because I feel like there is a lot that we can release. Stubbornness, ego from an isolated standpoint or isolated perspective, fear, right? So, if you want to have a look at this little flame, so sorry, it's hard for me to tell if it's in focus enough for you. But on behalf of the highest and greatest good and perfect comfort and alignment, it is our intention for this candle, for this session itself, for all the little gems, all the little quartz pieces in the stone, our offering, again, our intention, our motives, to support the collective during the time of Aquarius season, or any time that they feel like watching this video if the themes line up in their lives, which is certainly possible. Specifically, I want to work with detachment, balance, flow, releasing of certain expectations, and just collecting, acquiring more knowledge, refining our skills, venturing beyond into other realms, another dimension, another dimension, another dimension. If you'd like to set your own intention, please just watch the flame and do as you see fit. If you're looking for some kind of physical healing or heart healing, some type of development at all, whatever feels right. Let me move to the stones while I have you up close, okay? Tiger's eye. To support a nice, I wouldn't say this is like the most grounding, again, kind of like the tree agate. It is grounding, it is powerful, it gives you le force, but it's like a strength or a courage as well, like through the intuitive. Oh, I have smoots all over my fingers. I hope I didn't just smoots my forehead, but if I did, you know what it is. Candle stuff. The courage of escape, or travel, or thought journeys. The courage in facing those thoughts that are keeping you up at night. To take control of them, to empower yourself and call in a streamline declaration of self, of who I am and where I allow my thoughts to take me. A command of sorts, but a looseness, a comfort in, again, the new. Just gonna wash my hands. Hey, little girl, you're down home Similarly, a comfortable grounding. I just washed my hands. A comfortable grounding with this tree agate, so that those ideas can come down, like solar panel collecting from the sun in Aquarius and going down to the roots, down the trunk of the tree to nurture and manifest here when the time comes. In our reading, it didn't seem like it was a time of outward action. It's a time of getting our heads straight, welcoming new ideas, seeing ourselves as who we're choosing to be, and the courage to go in and use all of your energy for you. And by virtue, it does affect the collective when we do that. So we're not showing up half-assed or half cup, Gotta show up whole assed, yo. And also to remember we're taking care of ourselves, taking care of our bodies during this time. It's a time of escape. Like I said, we might feel called to sleep a lot, or meditate, or daydream, or journal, or doodle, or whatever it is, to escape. And that is what's just inevitable, But we always want to come back. We want to make sure we're taking care of our body, sweating, moving, eating, preparing our food with love and gratitude for the nourishment and the opportunity to be so cosmic and receive so much, but bring it down to where we are here in this realm. Sorry for my smoothie hands. I didn't really want to come on. Okay, I'm just going to place these around the candle as well. So we have Howlite for supporting good sleep. How funny, and we got that card, right? Howlite for your dreams, for your sleep, for your comfort. And crystal barrel. There's so many. Crystal praise, crystal cola, crystal barrel, or cat's eye. For a little of the spacey stoicness, a little feline energy, a little indifference, but compassionate indifference. It's not like, I don't care. It's a compassionate indifference of honoring everyone's path and journey and uniqueness. And again, not taking things too personally. Okay. Blue Aragonite, I believe is the pronunciation, or similar, to support the awareness of everything around you, of specifically the people around you, of where they're at, how healthy they are, like energetically, what they might need, what might support them. And I don't mean like how they can be useful. I don't mean it like we use people, but just an understanding, Very helpful. I love the energy of the stone. It's a great one for practitioners. And then our cute little hermit. You see it, right? You see the little door in the window. Little door. Azurite, the depths of blue going into the door. Going into your little hut, your little space where you connect with your guides, where you connect with your higher self, where you invite communication from the subtle realms, new ideas, new processes, new ways of healing, new perspectives, ideas. But that time to really let go within, or maybe even learning and reading, shacking up a little bit while you do so, while you develop. And a little bit for the heart here. Again, not taking things too seriously, too personally, being able to work through conversation and just observe, observe things. Ruby and zoisite. And here's a heart healer for those of you who need that, strong heart energy, that strength, that support. Rhodonite. I love this one because it has a nice little groove for your finger. So, any pain, any fear, any judgment, just want to pull it out. Use one of my, most favorite mists, the Aura Spray from Angela Mary Magic's Atmosphere Sprays. So cute. I'm just going to use a little on my hand. And my intention is to work with us and the collective, like the collective here who's watching this, but also connect with us in our healing, in our space, and our intentions that we've already set, and magnetize it and send it out and choose to, and so it is 3 times 3 times 3, you know what I mean? Or 300 or whatever. But to kind of quantify the intention with the ultimate respect, of course, and honoring of free will, but to have an effect in the collective of support, of newness, of patience, of healthy detachment, like this, healthy detachment. I'm going to do even more, and I actually want to go all around the body. So we're going to go side, back to front, and up top and below your feet. And this one too. Over myself too. So gorgeous. Just want to focus first on kind of pulling, releasing, cutting little paths for the old to be released, and what I mean by that, of course, is like the antiquated, the rigid, the stubborn, the stuck, the stagnant, the opposite of flow, the things that hold us glued in place, or that keep us in fear, or keep us in lack, or keep us on the wheel, like the rat wheel or whatever, the mouse wheel, the hamster wheel. So I just want to first by moving through the etheric form with the intention to just create these little hairline, like microscopic little openings for that stagnant kind of connection to come out of, or that stagnant association, or that stagnant belief, or whatever it is for you or for the collective personally. So it's like we just kind of comb them out, let them move. And I'm focused around the crown, the third eye, the throat. Because this isn't necessarily action. This isn't necessarily grounded yet, It's here, it's higher. Just let it flow, breathe. I release what is stagnant. I release what is stubborn. I release what is for pride and only self-fulfillment. Don't get me wrong. We live for the self in a way, of course, but rather in a way that isolates us. Like, that's what I mean more of. Releasing that isolation, releasing fear that holds us in place, keep what lets us move and travel and go and flow and temper and balance, Lets us know how important and how significant we are, even as tiny drops of the ocean. We still are the whole damn ocean, Sorry for all the you-knows all the time. Kind of called to do one more match just for a little transmutation, a little firework. Just transmuting any fear, any stagnant energy. And still with those little seams, those little slices, we're going to work with them now. Calling in the energy of the cosmos, of Uranus and change, and just like, again, so sorry I can't think of a lot of different terminology here, but I expanded out of the box. Let me go over it again. Let me collect more. Let me be even better. Let me know and understand even more. Let me get to a point where now I can share this with anyone from someone who has no idea what the heck I'm talking about, as long as they're open to it, or someone who's advanced, like, let me get to a point where now I can communicate, or I can hold space with, or whatever. But like, taking it a little further and knowing how impactful we are as individuals, and then carried into the collective. Just kind of sending it in through these little seams, through these little slits, through these little slices, like gills almost, like a whale. It's like we've been trying to play the game, and there makes sense in that. It's like, play the game, play by the rules, you got to. And I think there's certainly something to be said for that. But there's also something about being like, I'm going to make my own game. And it's knowing when to use which. That's what's tricky about Aquarius season. It's Saturn and Uranus. It's tradition, it's follow the rules, it's limitation, like parameters. But it's also like, well, I want to go over here. Well, I want to build a ramp. Well, I don't want to play. I want to make my own game. You can come play with me, but it's my game now. It's a duality. It's very interesting that way, Listen to your gut when you feel that risk. Yes, there's something to be said for taking risks and doing things differently, but when it's still like the cards were saying, to pump the brakes a little and get the mind frame going, get the refinement of the mind moving, but not quite action yet on the external kind of point of view. It's not, it's just not the right time, and that's okay. Just gonna walk around too. Same thing, but now just kind of sending it in to the sides, all around the head, back of the head. The side. Great. Something inspired me to share as well, like, it will make sense, but it doesn't have to make sense right now. So let's stop trying to make sense of it. Let's be open to it first, and then trust that the one will come through, like the exposure will be there. I hope I'm using words that make sense, but there's first the exposure, there's first the unlimited, and by virtue of just us also identifying who I am, what I'm about, what I want my life to be about, what's important to me, the refinement happens, and what is meant to come through for you will. It's beautiful when it does too. So yes, clarity, yes, comprehension, but also a little fun, like a little enjoying the like, what? Like, I'm seeing like images of the moon across the sky as if it's like really bright, and then it's still full but lighter, and then as if it's like an image that's just getting lighter across the sky. To focus on the knees as well. So I know I look a little weird, but focusing on the right knee, intention to support, flexibility, in the path, flexibility in how the best laid plans often go awry, flexibility with the upcoming path. Being able to comfortably navigate these steps ahead. The other knee. Focusing on the intention of flexibility with the path that has been. Let's not judge it. Let's not feel personally attacked by it. Let's take it for what it is and learn everything that we can. Everything that we can. And if we need to flip it on its head, we'll flip it on its head. And if we need to bend it a little, we'll bend it. And if we need to rewrite it, we'll rewrite it. But let's not let it hurt us. Let's not let it be a disadvantage. Allow this to be a foundation of how you have successfully navigated everything life has brought you so far. Alright. I'm so sorry that I look like a weirdo, but I'm going to go down to the calves and just placing my hands on the back of both of the calves at the same time, up near the meatiest part of the calf. Focusing on how strong you are, how grounded you are, even through Aquarius season. How you are able to move, you are able to do. Even if we are bedbound, we have some way, there is some way to connect, to move. Even, metaphorically. Focusing now down to the Achilles heel. Focusing specifically on each unique individual to support their personal Achilles heel through this month, through this season, excuse me. I'm seeing like shallow water and jellyfish. Makes me think of sting. It makes me think of surprise. It makes me think of inflammation and injury. So I'm just going to focus on clearing away the jellyfish. Focusing on an ointment, kind of like the Death Becomes Her ointment or liquid. If you've seen that movie, it's so good, right? And we're going to pour this on the Achilles heel. And I'm sorry you can't see me. We're pouring this on the Achilles heel. We're healing, we're soothing whatever that sting was, whatever that bite, whatever that unseen little sneaky thing was. I feel like I got very sweaty during that, so focusing on the thighs. You're so strong. You're so capable, and you are so able of excelling, of climbing, of seeing from great heights. Focusing on the hips. Releasing fear, releasing isolation, releasing the detachment from your body. Or feeling detached from your body, feeling detached from this realm. You are both. You are of both. I want to go to kind of the rib cage here. Of being supported by yourself, but also by all of the interweavings and workings of the path and other people and your lessons and everything, just as support. I want to tell some of you to drink more water. Like 2 more cups, not just 1 more glass, 2 more glasses of water, add more. gets your fluids moving, it supports flow, it will be healing, especially, of course, when done with intention. Just going to go down the spine. Down the spine. Just moving the spinal fluid. Just brushing it down. And then we're going to work it up from the base of the tail, or tailbone, excuse me. Up the lower back, up the small of the back, up the center of the back, up between the shoulder blades, up into the neck, and up into the back of the head. And again, down to the tailbone, up in the lower back, the small of the back, the mid back, between the shoulder blades, through the neck, and into the head. Focus on the left hand to shoulder and flow and receptivity. And then the right shoulder to the right hand. Flow on release. Doesn't feel like a lot of creation going on, and don't let me stop you from creating. You know what I mean? When you have a plan, go for it. But it doesn't feel like a lot of creation. It just feels like a release. Alright. Gonna fluff up your aura. Get weird. Aquarius season is the time to get weird. Hey. Oh. I love my Aquarian weirdos. I say that with such love as a weirdo myself. Right. Great. Well, I hope that you enjoyed our little talk and our little session. And I hope that you have a wonderful Aquarius season, yeah. From the very, very, very bottom of my heart, I bow to the divine within you, within me, to the magic that we share. Alright? Much love.